Do you ever wonder what to do in a complicated situation? How to deal with a difficult person? How to maintain your dignity? Or how to fight swamping distress? How to overcome the fear of death? If your answer is yes, Mr. Smart has crafted this video with love and care, precisely for you. Marcus Aurelius braved all these challenges gracefully. But how did he do it? Luckily, he wrote it all down in his bedside journal, later named as Meditations. Now, he never meant it to be published, nor was it written for fanfare or commercial interest, so you can safely expect all advice, thoughts, and ideas to be original and genuine, straight from one of the greatest minds of human history. Subscribe to Mr. Smart so he can continue making these videos for you. Now, let us collect the pearls of wisdom. Number 1. Life is but what you deem it. There is no objective reality. Rather, our opinions and perceptions shape the surrounding realities. If someone hurts, insults, or ridicules us, it is not the actual words that injure us, but our perception of this event. Whenever someone does you wrong, ask yourself how this episode can strengthen you and provide wisdom. And don't stop to feel the pain. Rather, use this pain and anger to fuel your efforts to achieve your targets and make yourself a better person. Step into the other person's shoes and perceive reality from their position. Stephen Covey rightly says, "Seek first to understand, then to be understood." You will realize that reality varies from one individual to another because of different perceptions. I have made a separate video on this phenomenon. You can find the link in the description below. You can find a billionaire who thinks himself to be a failure because he compares himself with the richest of the planet. He perceives his success or net worth to be tiny in front of people like Thomas Edison, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, or Elon Musk, who have revolutionized the way we live today. He can seek inspiration from them if he opts to, but he is deeply unhappy over his success, fame, or net worth being nothing as compared to their achievements. Contrarily, someone living in squalor with no luxury can still be happy when their heart is full of gratitude and satisfaction. I would not recommend you seek such passive satisfaction though, as these two are extreme examples, where, in reality, every one of us rests somewhere in between our unhappy billionaire and happy pauper. The solution is to see everything in a positive light, and use the insults, injuries, and debacles to fuel our efforts towards success and happiness. That's why Marcus writes in Meditations that life is an opinion. He reminds us, "If I do not view the thing as an evil, I take no hurt." Marcus Aurelius further writes in Meditations, "Reject your sense of injury, and the injury itself disappears." Number 2. The impediment to action advances action. Let us put these golden words of Marcus Aurelius in another way. Turn obstacle into an opportunity. If one understands and internalizes this spirit, no aspiring entrepreneur will shy from failures, no military general will accept defeat in battle, and no firefighter will be fearful of an intense blaze. The writer, Nassim Nicholas Taleb, defines a Stoic as someone who transforms fear into prudence, pain into transformation, mistakes into initiation, and desire into undertaking. So, do you want to be a Stoic? Have you ever tried to seek this mindset? And how successful have you been in achieving this internal fortitude? Let us know in the comment section below. Moving forward, let me share a quote of Marcus Aurelius from Meditations. "Our actions may be impeded, but there can be no impeding our intentions or dispositions. Because we can accommodate and adapt. The mind adapts and converts to its own purposes, the obstacle to our acting. Accommodation and adaptation are the operative words. Accommodate the impeding changes and adapt yourself according to these changes in pursuit of your own purpose and goals. Repeat these golden words of Marcus after me. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. The life of Marcus Aurelius was full of difficulties and challenges, but he braved everything with courage. In his rule of 19 years, he faced constant war, depleting treasuries, a deadly plague, an incompetent and greedy stepbrother as co-emperor, accusations of infidelity, betrayal by his closest allies, arduous travels in his empire, and so on. But he braved all these obstacles, problems, and setbacks. Number 3. Amor Fati. Influential German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche introduced his recipe of human greatness and satisfaction as Amor Fati. It is a Latin phrase which means love of one's fate. The Stoic embraced this concept centuries ago. Marcus Aurelius writes in Meditations, "Something happens to you. Good. It was meant for you by nature, woven into the pattern from the beginning. Get what you can from the present, thoughtfully, justly." Here, Mr. Smart will add that passive acceptance of fate should not be the goal. Actively accept what happens and understand that certain things in life, especially the bad, are beyond our control. Treat every failure and debacle as something to embrace, not avoid. The goal is not to be just okay with it, but love it. Does it not seem to be a little unnatural to love what you never wanted to happen in the first place? Yes, it is. But think what other graver adversities this bad thing might save us from. What can we learn from this bad experience? So, make every adversity to fuel your success, just as oxygen is fuel to fire. Robert Greene, the best-selling author of both 48 Laws of Power and Mystery, aptly describes this concept. Accept the fact that all events occur for a reason, and that it is within your capacity to see this reason as positive. Number 4. Memento Mori. It is again a Latin phrase, which means, remember, you must die. Death is a universal truth. Rich or not so rich. Successful or not so successful. Powerful or not so powerful. We all must die, eventually. The Stoics use this concept to clarify the purpose of life and align their actions accordingly. Treat every passing day as an opportunity. Try to avoid wasting time on trivialities, such as watching TV or browsing aimlessly. Marcus writes in Meditations, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." When we know that death is nearby, we become focused to do what we consider worthwhile. Otherwise, we indulge in a grave mismatch of our priorities or life schedule. Ask anyone what is important in his or her life. An immediate response may be family, health, career, business, or some dear hobby. Now, ask how much time you have spent with your family or exercising your body in the last 30 days. Or you will find an obvious mismatch between our priorities and the way we spend our time and energy. So, correct your priorities and focus before your time has come. Marcus Aurelius reminds himself with these words, "Very soon you will be dead. But even yet you are not single-minded. We need to keep at our forefront that death is knocking at our door, or else we shall not have focus in our life." Number 5. Don't bother what others are doing. As we have a short life, we don't have time to waste on what others are doing or what they should do. Rather, focus on finding our calling. Marcus remarks in Meditations, "Do not waste what remains of your life in speculating about your neighbours. Anything that distracts you from fidelity to the ruler within means a loss of opportunity for some other task." We need not have an opinion about others and their actions. They are not in our circle of influence. We have no power to change or mould them. However, we have complete control of our own self. So, don't bother about others, and mind your own business. Number 6. Monitor and manage your use of social media. We are glued to social media and smartphones in order to remain updated on what our friends and colleagues are doing. We need to know all the good deeds they have done, and know even more precisely what wrongs they have committed. That's why we cannot part from our smartphones for even 60 minutes. Speaking of which, what is the last thing you do before going to bed? And what is the first thing you do in the morning? Most likely, you check your phone. Yet you are not alone in this habit, as today we live in a hyper-connected world of posts and tweets. This is what Mr. Smart calls digital intoxication. According to the research of eMarketer, the average US adult in 2019 spends 3 hours and 43 minutes daily using their phone, and 3 hours and 35 minutes watching TV. Well, these statistics speak volumes about the invasion of smartphones and TV in our daily life. Today, a Stoic would suggest a digital detox to stay focused. As an experiment, uninstall the social media apps on your phone, just for a week, to focus on the tasks at hand, and try to spend quality time with people around you. You may even like it. After this, you can reinstall your social media apps if you choose, but with an added incentive to monitor and control the time you spend using them. Now, Mr. Smart is not suggesting you completely boycott your phone and quit social media, but rather, you monitor and think about your use of both. Number 7. Let thy deeds be few. Simply speaking, do less. But never settle for mediocrity. Do better. That's the recipe of success, satisfaction, and happiness. In Meditations, Marcus Aurelius reminds himself, "If thou wouldst know contentment, let thy deeds be few," said the sage. Better still, limit them strictly to such as essential. He further writes, "This brings the contentment that comes of doing a few things and done them well. Most of what we say and do is not necessary, and its omission would save both time and trouble. At every step, a man should ask himself, is this one of the things that are superfluous? Unnecessary action will not ensue." Many conversations and activities of ours in a day are unnecessary and superfluous. By avoiding them, we will be less stressed and more focused. When we identify and cut the unnecessary tasks, activities, gossips, deliberations, and stress, we free a lot of our time and energy to focus on our calling. Well, it could be quality time with your family, your career, physical exercise, or a hobby you are passionate about. A wise and practical man will stick to a few actions and do them well. Here, it is apt to quote Tony Robbins when he says, "Most people fail in life when they major in minor things." But the real challenge is that minor things often feel major. You might wonder to yourself, how can I tell what is major and what is minor? What is important and what is not so important? What is urgent and what is not so urgent. Luckily, Mr. Smart has a separate video on this, which he based on Stephen Covey's 4 quadrants of time management. Check the description for a link down below. It will amaze you to know how easy it is to classify your daily activities into the significant and the superfluous. Number 8. Green fields can always be yours. You live a metropolitan lifestyle, but yearn for the countryside. You might be living in the suburbs, but prefer your shot in the big city. You can live at the beach, but dream of an island getaway. Marcus Aurelius writes in Meditations, "Let it be clear to you that the pace of green fields can always be yours in this, that, or any other spot, and that nothing is any different here from what it would be either up in the hills or down by the sea or wherever else you will." It is similar to saying grass is greener on the other side. Well, you should rather think the grass is greener on your side, not the other side. Enjoy the serenity of nature if you live in the country. Appreciate the convenience of living in a city if you hold a metropolitan lifestyle. There are always pros and cons of everything on earth, so always stay focused on the pros and positives. Number 9. The art of living is more like wrestling than dancing. Life is tough. Be tougher. Life is hard. Be harder. Be stronger than what it takes to live. When you face hardships, repeat these words of Marcus Aurelius. "Flow lucky I am, that it has left me with no bitterness, unshaken by the present, and undismayed by the future. The thing could have happened to anyone, but not everyone would have emerged without bitterness." If you want to be an entrepreneur, get ready for your startup to fail. If you want to be a firefighter, don't expect you'll get away without a few burns. Or certainly, you can read and study, and that's good, but no book or degree can teach you how to hustle. Only a hustler knows how to work hard with consistency, master his craft, and meet opportunities with preparedness. Finally, the hustler achieves success because he respects the process while knowing what it really takes to achieve the impossible. That brings us to the end of this video. If you want to transform your life in accordance to the Stoic principles, Mr. Smart has compiled a list of recommended books in the description. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button so that you don't miss out on any future videos.